This is pretty disturbing. There's supposed to be protections built in D.C. for whistleblowers to come forward to the American people and to Congress and say, there's corruption over here within the government and I'm exposing it. Please protect me. And then you guys tell him he's protected. How in the hell can the DOJ then yank him from the investigation on which he was blowing the whistle on what was happening with the investigation? This is insane to me. You can't even write a book or a movie like this.
Dan, good to be with you. It's an incredible day today. Unbelievably, the brazenness of this administration, of the Democratic Party, on all levels, but especially with the DOJ. You know, we have been accusing and I think rightfully so and justifiably so, the Democrat Party for wanting to defund police around the country. And they've been very successful at that with their lack of prosecution, cutting down police departments, et cetera, et cetera. And so when we start talking about defunding, we have the power of the purse. We don't control the administration, but we do have the power of the purse in the House of Representatives. I really think the time has come for us to really start defunding.
Yes.
Cutting back. We have the Holman Rule. We could actually take and cut the salaries of individuals. We could cut programs. We could cherry pick what we're going to be doing and leave the important aspects of what the FBI and some of these other alphabet soup agencies do. And but we could cut some of the more egregious ones.
Now, Brian, you're saying stuff I haven't heard. Listen, sorry to interrupt. I hear a lot of lip service from Republicans in Congress. They'll use the phrase, let's defund them or abolish them. And that's all I hear. But I'm glad to hear you say you could go after specific people and start touching their salaries. Because let's be real. How do you make people start paying attention?
Well,
when you touch their money.
You start cutting their paycheck, taking some programs away, taking the funding away for some of their pet programs. I think you're going to see some real squealing by the Democrats. They will fight back. There's no question about it. But let me tell you something. I have never in my life seen this much corruption at those levels of our federal government.
Thank you. Exactly. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. It makes me not mad or upset to be an American. It makes me sad to be an American today,
yes,
Brian. And I am one patriotic. But
it is. It's a shameful thing to see this, Dan. To see what is going on, the double standard that you talked about, the lack of protection, of whistleblowers. The law is very specific. We're supposed to be protecting these people.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something. IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel, he needs to be called onto the carpet and questioned very.
Because he had to make that call, right? If the DOJ requested that this whistleblower and his team be removed, that guy, Daniel, could have said, no, he's a great investigator, I'm leaving him put. But he did the bidding of what the DOJ wanted, so he's just as culpable. His ass needs to be in the hot seat. The DOJ again, where's Merrick Garland?
No.
Why is Merrick Garland and his department requesting that? Because, first of all, look at what you just sent now. You just sent that message to every single American that works as a federal employee or a state that might want to come forward and say, I'm going to blow the whistle. But they're going to go, I'm not protected. That guy just got, demoted, thrown off this big case. Nope, I'm scared. I'm not going to do it. That's the signal they just sent. That's horrific.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, it's how timely. We've just had the Durham report come out.
Yep.
And this casts really some really bright sunlight on a lot of the crazy things, corrupt, underhanded, sneaky, partisan, really illegal things that were happening under this Democrat administration, really for years.
Yeah.
Going back to the Obama administration. And to have this happen just at the same time the Durham report is coming out, we know the DOJ, the FBI were weaponized against Donald Trump. We know that the FBI had no legitimate intel of Russia collusion at all. It was strictly a witch hunt just against the Trump administration, just as the President Trump himself said. It was a sham. And we've got to hold these people involved accountable. The Holman Rule, cutting salaries, abolishing programs. We must do this.
Yep, Brian, I'm almost out of time, but I know you wanted to come on specifically too to touch on the border crisis and what's happened since Title 42, because obviously your home state is a border state. Less than a minute left, but I want to get one at you real quick and easy. We've seen what Joe Biden's policy has done to this nation in the last 2.5 years of his presidency in regards to the border, from the drugs to the human and sex trafficking to the criminals coming in committing criminal acts. And then not to mention now we're probably going to have anywhere between 5 and 10 million illegals in by the end of his term, which they hope, I'm sure, will vote Democrat so they can change our electorate. Will you, sir, support impeaching this president over dereliction of duty of allowing the invasion of our country? Because, Brian, that's what the hell this is.
The man deserves impeachment. His DHS secretary deserves impeachment. I can't tell you that we have the votes for that, but I would support that in a New York minute.